Hi, welcome to another episode of Developing with Flashlight. In this episode, we're going to be looking at a sneak peek of the new Device Central CS5 application and some of the improvements that have been made from previous versions. Device Central CS5 continues to be an important part of the workflow for mobile developers, and as you'll see in some of the new features as well, for developers who are creating content for things other than mobile phones. So this is the user interface for Device Central CS5. It looks fairly similar to CS4 at the moment, but I'm just going to go through these main tabs here at the top, and we'll have a look at each of these one at a time to see the new features. So we're going to begin here with the Create tab, or the Create view. We've got the new document panel over here, which is very similar to what we've had previously. We can choose from various applications within the Creative Suite family. You can see now we've also got the added option of creating Fireworks native documents. So we can use this option to create various starting documents for mobile designs or applications, depending on what it is that we're authoring. So sticking with creating a Flash document, the player version list has been modified to include obviously Flash Player 10.1, all of the previous versions of Flashlight, and all of the desktop versions of the player as well. Our ActionScript version also changes depending on the player version. So I'm going to choose Flash Player 10.1, and now ActionScript 3 is available for us within the ActionScript version for our new document. Content type is very much as it was before, depending on what it is that you're actually creating. You can set the content type, which in most cases will set various stage sizes and also determine things like whether or not you've got the ability to set an application to full screen. Projects are more tightly integrated with Device Central CS5, so I'm working here within the default project, and I can add new documents as I create them from within Device Central into the current project. And remembering what we've got currently in CS4, projects are just ways for us to manage files and documents that are related to a particular application. So I'll just flick over to the Browse tab, and I'll cancel out of the search for new online devices. That's currently not working in this pre-release version of Device Central CS5 that I've got here today. But here in the Browse view is where we see all of the device profiles that we have available to us. Now, this is all shown in a new Device Library Main View tab, which appears here in the center of the screen. Think of this device library panel as the online device library that we currently have in Device Central CS4. We can see here all the device profiles that are available to us depending on a particular library filter. So over here in the bottom left-hand corner, I've got my library filter panel, and there's various options here for filtering what we see here in the device library panel. So Adobe certified are profiles that have been certified by Adobe and generally will ship with the application or through updates to the device library profiles. The community filter will allow you to view profiles that have been created by members of the development community, and private profiles are ones that you've created yourself. There's also options such as being able to view profiles based on their web browsing capabilities when it comes to Flash, or what marketplace they belong to, whether that be the Android or Windows Mobile or Nokia OV application stores. You can see over here in the device library panel that we've got star ratings, who's created the profile, a lot of additional information that we haven't had before with device profiles in Device Central CS4. Of course, we've still got the ability to add our own parameters to the device library view so that we can choose profiles based on certain hardware configurations, or as we've seen in the library filter already, different variations in the way that those profiles make it out to customers. So because this new device library is essentially the online library from our current version of Device Central, we add profiles from the device library to this test devices panel, or our test devices list. So we can right mouse click a profile here, select add to test devices, and then that profile will appear in this list on the left hand side. Once we have those profiles in our test devices panel, we can then view the details of each device profile. So this looks very similar to what we've got at the moment, although there's some additional information here on the General tab. First, we've got these profile properties, also the location of where that profile is stored, any additional information from the manufacturer, and then this list of hyperlinks out to various marketplaces where perhaps our application might be deployed to. If we go across these other top tabs such as Flash, then you'll see information that's fairly consistent with what we see today. Although rather than having a subset of tabs, we've now got these drop-down lists to be able to change the implementation of Flash for particular devices. The same applies for bitmap, video. Lastly, we've got this new community tab, and this is a new feature of Device Central CS5 where we can actually go and write comments and ratings for each of these profiles. This could be particularly useful for profiles that we've created ourselves, perhaps for a device that isn't quite out on the market just yet, but we are developing content for. So you can give your comment a title, write your comment here in the body, and then you can actually rate the profile as a star rating that appears when someone actually views this profile, either in the device library or in their test device panel. So those are some of the essential features of the Browse view. We'll just lastly take a look at the Emulate view. So this is what's most familiar to users of Device Central at the moment. We use our list of device profiles, this time over here in the Test Devices panel, to show us the profile or the skin of the device here within the Emulation tab. So at the moment I've just got generic device profiles here because we haven't quite gotten to hooking this up to the online device library yet. But I do have this one profile here for the Nokia 5800 Express Music. So we've got that appearing as per usual in the center of the screen. And there's also a profile here for Flashlight 3.1 for the digital home. So for when you're developing Flashlight content to run on a set-top box with a stage size of 1280 by 720, you can now also emulate this and test your content within Device Central. Rather than showing the skin of a mobile phone, we've got a TV remote down here on the bottom which has the enabled keys just like a normal device profile, keys that are available to developers within Flashlight for the digital home. So I think that's a great new feature of Device Central CS5, breaking away from not just being purely about applications running on mobile phones. But now just going back and choosing a new device profile. Actually, no, I won't choose that one. I'll choose the Nokia 5800 Express Music. And so, of course, the main feature of Device Central CS5 has always been to emulate content running on the device. So here in my Files panel, which is a way of showing the files that exist within a project, I can open up a SWF, and here I've got a labyrinth puzzle. And this kind of puzzle, fairly common to devices that have an accelerometer in them so that you roll the ball around the stage, obviously in this case avoiding the holes and trying to get it down to the target. Now, because I'm working with an alpha release of the software and some of the language reference that is going to enable interactions between the Flash Player and things like accelerometers is still in development as well, I'm not actually going to be able to show you this working because right now, as I said, we're still in an alpha release. But what I did want to show you is at least the panels that open up when we emulate content. Some of them you'll be very familiar with, such as device performance, display, flash memory, and the keypad. But we've got this new one here called accelerometer, which allows us to emulate the movement of a device. And if we're going to be using some of the new APIs, particularly that Flash Player 10.1 is going to bring to mobile devices, then this is how we're going to be able to emulate the movement of the device and have our action script within the application change accordingly. We've also got a geolocation tab, which allows us to send location information to our application and test our GPS-based applications. And also multi-touch. Of course, you've heard that Flash Player 10.1 supports multi-touch. And so on devices that support multi-touch, we'll be able to simulate multiple taps and pressure points on the supported device. So those are the three main views within Device Central CS5. And I guess the last thing that I want to show in this sneak peek of Device Central CS5 is how the user interface is starting to align further with the CS products. Now we have dockable UI within Device Central. So just as we have with any of the other applications in the Creative Suite family, we can move, undock, and dock our panels wherever we want within our application. And we've also got the ability to handle workspaces within Device Central CS5 so that we can set things up the way we want and keep them that way for later testing. Please also keep in mind that features that I've shown you today could change between now and when the product's actually released. So that's it for this sneak peek of the alpha version of Device Central CS5. I look forward to updating you with some more demos as the product moves through the beta test phase and gets close to release later on in 2010. Thanks, and we'll see you next time.